Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a real look into the course I designed to teach at University of South Florida titled Weight Management Fact versus Fiction. So what I really do is I take a very systematic type approach to a lot of things in fitness. So you'll see a lot of things on YouTube, a lot of things on Instagram, and you'll go, what the hell does that mean? This course is really designed around, hey, what is your goal? How do you achieve that goal through a nutritional approach? What actually is nutrition? How do I create a training program? How do I alter my own training? And really manage the way that you want to look and feel for any goal: weight loss, fat loss, gaining muscle, body recomposition. I literally teach how they can control their life in any way through resistance training, nutrition, and that they don't really need a coach after they're done with this course. This lecture is going to focus on the calorie deficit, and is it really the only way to lose body fat? Welcome back to this lecture series. Today's lecture is going to focus on the calorie deficit. So just an overview of what I'm about to talk about. I'm going to be talking about what makes a diet work, what is a calorie deficit, and is a calorie deficit the only way you can lose body fat, and what is body recomposition. I feel like you hear this all of the time on social media, YouTube. Every fitness professional is saying body recomposition. What is that? So for the purpose of this lecture, I'll be focusing primarily on fat loss. So what makes a diet work? First, I want to think back to defining your goal. Is your goal fat loss? Is your goal to gain muscle? Or is your goal just to stay exactly how you are? When the goal is fat loss, you can think of this as a calorie deficit. Is this really needed to lose body fat? And I also want to show this diagram here. So looking at this, on the left side we see food, energy in, and on the right side we see physical activity, energy out. So basically what happens when you're in a calorie deficit, if you are expending more energy than you are eating, you're going to lose weight, some type of weight. I don't know if it's muscle, I don't know if it's body fat, I hope it's body fat, but you will lose some weight. If you eat enough energy or food and do enough physical activity to stay exactly the same, you're going to call this maintenance. And if you eat a bunch of food and you don't really exercise it, you're going to gain weight. And that's called being in a caloric surplus. So a calorie deficit is literally the opposite. You're just eating less than what you're burning. So calorie deficit, what does this mean? You are going to be burning more calories than you are consuming. And I do want to question, is it really as simple as eat less and do more? Is it really the primary focus, energy in versus energy out, or are there alternatives? Do you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat? Sure, this is a great solution, direct. I mean, if you eat in a deficit, you are going to lose weight, but is it the only solution? So looking at these a little bit more closely, eat less, do more, energy in versus energy out. I want to look at two different approaches. And the first approach we talked about was being in a calorie deficit, again, which just means eating less than what you're burning. And if your goal is to lose weight in some way, then being in a calorie deficit is going to not solve your problem, but it's going to offer a really good solution that should work over time. Consuming less than you're burning, is this going to be optimal, or is this going to be the best approach for building muscle? I'm going to say it is possible, but it is probably not likely the best approach. I can think of this as a little analogy. So if you are trying to run a marathon and you're trying to be a bodybuilder, are those goals really going to align with each other? Sure, the running is going to put you in a calorie deficit, which loses a bunch of fat, but you're not going to have enough energy. So how is your performance to run going to be really great? You're kind of just spreading out your energy into a bunch of different things and really kind of doing an okay job. So what I recommend is either your goal is to lose body fat or your goal is to gain muscle. And I don't recommend doing both at the same time. Even though it's possible, I don't recommend it. Because if you choose one and be all in for that, you're probably going to have a really great result. So, calorie deficit, that's one approach. The next approach is consuming more than you burn, or you can eat at maintenance. Yes, I just said this. You don't have to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat, and here's why. So when looking at this from the other approach, if your goal is to maintain your weight or even gain weight, I didn't say body fat, I said weight. This could be kind of looked at as body recomposition. And body recomposition is losing fat and building muscle at the same time. You hear this all the time on social media. People are doing body recomp, but all they're really doing is eating enough calories or eating a little bit of a surplus, resistance training, and maybe they're doing some type of cardio, incline walking, really low impact to maximize their muscle building capabilities, so to say. You don't want to do a bunch of fatiguing cardio that takes away from resistance training. We don't want to run a marathon and try to be a bodybuilder at the same time. So this is possible, people. Like, if you don't want to be in a calorie deficit, you don't want to deal with that, you can just eat enough and feel all this energy and resistance train and most likely build muscle, lose fat at the same time. So these are two different approaches that you can take. But if your goal is primarily to lose body fat, I would recommend taking the calorie deficit route as a very XY approach. But if you've never resistance trained before, hey, maybe just starting to resistance train and eat enough, that could be a really good solution for you. And again, I thought you had to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. That's what everybody makes it seem like. But all you have to do really is resistance train and don't overeat. You'll lose body fat. Just the sole fact that you're resistance training. So here's a real life example. So I'm an online coach and this is a client. So this is Chrissy. She came to me at 115 pounds, eating 1,350 calories a day. And she said, I need to not be in a calorie deficit anymore. I want to build muscle. I need a really good route to get out of this. So this is typically called a reverse diet. And this is a 3-month difference. So on the left, Chrissy is 115 pounds. And on the right, she's 117 pounds. What's the difference here? Chrissy was doing 4 hours of cardio per week. And on the right, she is doing 40 minutes of cardio per week. And on the left, she was eating 1,350 calories per day. And on the right, she's eating over 2,200 calories. This was done over the period of 3 months. So that idea of a reverse diet is a different topic for another time. But this is a prime example of body recomposition, losing fat and building muscle at the same time. And Chrissy clearly was eating so much more fuel, doing less cardio, and her physical appearance, the body fat amount, doesn't seem to be a huge difference here. And the weight really only went up 2 pounds. So this is a great example of body recomposition. She was resistance training. No, you do not have to be in a deficit to lose body fat. So to really wrap this all together, what are my secrets to fat loss here? What am I trying to say, and how do you do it? Because if I tell you all this stuff and you don't know how to do it, it's just not helpful. Let's be honest. So option number 1, direct approach, be in a calorie deficit. And how can you do this? You are going to eat less than what you are burning, and you're going to resistance train. That is what I recommend. Option 2, eating at maintenance calories and creating a deficit through movement. So this is a very unique approach and not really thought of as from a lot of different perspectives of being in a calorie deficit. A lot of people think eat less, do more, but it really is you can just eat enough and create a deficit through movement. Some examples of that are incline walking, going on walks, resistance training, hiking and moving in any way that you really enjoy, and that's key. Really finding something that you enjoy doing, so you're not really focused on, hey, my goal is to lose fat, and maybe the goal is going to be, hey, I really want to enjoy this activity, and losing fat is going to be a byproduct of that. And option number 3, combine option 1 with the movement you enjoy. So eat in a calorie deficit, resistance train, and go be active and do something that you really like to do. One thing I do want to point out here is that I do recommend low impact exercise if your goal is anything physique related. Incorporating a few HIIT trainings is great, but I don't recommend doing HIIT like 5 times a week. And HIIT is just high intensity interval training, and it is very fatiguing. So if you do this exercise, do it with wisdom. Is this going to impact me in a negative way, so I'm going to be sore as hell when I resistance train? So that's some things you have to think about as well. Option number 2, don't be in a calorie deficit. Direct arrow to body recomposition here. So how? Option 1, eat at maintenance calories or eat in a caloric surplus and resistance train. And only let your surplus be 200 to 300 calories at first, and then go from there. Before you even decide to do that, you better know what your maintenance calories are. And option 2, combine option 1 with any form of movement you enjoy. So eat at maintenance, feel energized, resistance train, and hey, if you like going on a walk with your family, do it. So that's a really great way to move your body, which is going to help with recovery. And you will likely result in body recomposition. Also, again, incline walking, going on walks, anything really low impact. So thank you guys for tuning into this lecture, and I hope you guys got something from this. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will see you guys in the next lecture. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope you guys like the lecture, and subscribe if you like this content. I plan on presenting things from my course more in the future, and this is going to be part of the educational series. Thanks guys, see you next time.